Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm here with the 2018 Jeep Compass Sport. This is the 4x4 or all-wheel drive Compass. It is a pretty nice little compact SUV. I've had this thing for a few days and I've been driving it around, and I wanted to give you guys some first impressions on what it's like to live with, what it's like to drive. And starting off, I do like this new interior. It feels nice and roomy in here. All the ergonomics are nice, everything's easy to reach and well placed. And I like the contrast between these lighter seats and the darker dash. Leather steering wheel is a little bit thick, but the leather feels nice and premium. And looking on the outside, this is a whole new redesign for 2018. It's got a little bit of a baby Jeep Cherokee vibe going for it, especially in the front end. Personally, I think these 16-inch wheels are just a little bit small for the body, but what you do lose in aesthetics, you do gain in ride comfort. Pretty high loading height for this trunk, but the deck lid is nice and lightweight. You've got some Jeep symbols in here and here. A spare tire under the shelf here, and you've got 60/40 folding rear seats. Plenty of room for most people's needs. Not a massive area back there, but it'll do the job. The back seat, however, is really comfortable. Very easy to get into. Ingress is awesome. Nice high roof line to get your head in. You don't have to duck. And there's plenty of room back here. I'm comfortable. All the materials feel nice. There's a solid little armrest here with some cup holders. I'm a pretty big fan of this interior. It looks nice. This is a big upgrade from the last Jeep Compass that I remember, and everything feels pretty good. The infotainment is easy to use and works really well from what I've seen. So, all right, let's take this for a drive. This particular Compass, the base price starts at $22,495. As spec'd, this is just under $28,000. You've got heated seats and heated steering wheel, and you go into the climate control controls and you can turn all that on and set that up. It has remote start and all that good stuff, and got some leather on the steering wheel. Automatic stop start, all that good stuff. And there's even a mode to lock the all-wheel drive system for different driving conditions, such as snow, sand, mud. As you'd kind of expect from a Jeep this size, this definitely has a little bit more of a smaller feel, a lighter feel. It's a little bit smaller of a footprint on the road. A little more agile, not particularly fast. I believe 180 horsepower, 175 pound-feet of torque, all made of this 9-speed transmission. Sometimes the 9-speed is great, but when you really need to get going in some situations, it can be a bit of a dog. But for the most part, in my experience with it this week, it's been pretty good. I've had some complaints with this transmission in the past, and this is actually, Jeep has done a pretty good job with the tuning on this. It feels nice. There's a little bit of a delay between shifts, but for the most part, it does what you need. And with 9 gears, you'd think it'd be hunting all over the place, but it actually does a pretty nice job of selecting the gear that you want when you want it. You even have a little option here. No paddle shifters, but you do have the option to manually change gears with a little downshift mode here. Over bumps, everything feels pretty solid. No major shakes or rattles or anything. The car feels pretty pretty stiff actually. It's not uncomfortable, but it's definitely not a sloppy ride. It's pretty well controlled over bumps, and airing, I guess, just a little bit on the stiffer side of comfort. One advantage you do get in the Compass compared to its other competitors in this segment is you do get a little bit of off-road prowess. There isn't a lot of front end ground clearance, but the rest of the vehicle has quite a bit of clearance over off-road situations. And it couples that with pretty nice road handling. So the all-wheel drive system gives you quite a bit of confidence in this thing. In the wet, in the snow, you shouldn't have any problems getting where you need to go. You can see here merging onto the highway, there just isn't a lot of power. It gets the job done, but with 180 horsepower, I was hoping for just a little bit more pull, but maybe that all-wheel drive system is just taking away a little bit of that power to drivetrain loss. Most of the time when you're not hammering it, the engine's really quiet. There's not a lot of wind noise in this car. It is pretty windy today, so you're going to hear it a little bit more than usual, but everything's pretty well isolated in here. No radar guided cruise control on this sport model, but ergonomically everything seems to fall to hand pretty well and work nicely. One complaint I do have is there's really no place to put your phone in this car, especially if you have a larger iPhone 7 Plus or 8 Plus or any one of the larger smartphones. So you can kind of put it in a cup holder. It doesn't really fit up here. It doesn't even really fit completely in a cup holder, especially if you're going to have some other things in there. So I usually do tend to put it in the side pocket or even just in the center console here. I tend to use Waze a lot instead of the vehicle's navigations, and this cup holder here isn't a really good place to see your directions and navigation as you're driving. Other notes, something I've noticed on this car, you might be able to change it in the settings, but the European turn signal automatically does 5 signals instead of the standard and usual 3. Overall, I do like the way this Compass drives for what it is. It's pretty responsive, it's nimble, it's lightweight. It just it's not necessarily super fun or inspiring to drive, but it does feel a little bit more premium than many of the other Jeeps I've driven in the past, and the drivetrain is definitely a nicely balanced setup. Turning radius is fine there. The steering does feel good. I feel like that's partially due to this leather-wrapped wheel. Like I said earlier, it's a little bit thick, but it feels nice in hand. Here's an example of stop-start. This can be a little bit slow to respond when you're coming off the brake pedal if you need to get started quickly, but at least you can turn it off down here. You can hear right there just a little bit of a delay between shifts. One thing I have noticed in this Compass compared to, let's say, the Jeep Renegade is it doesn't seem like it's working as hard to merge onto the highway or kind of just put its power down. I feel like the drivetrain is just a little bit more refined, and though the power isn't a lot for this day and age. It's definitely adequate for what you need to do in a daily driving situation. And even if from a dig, if you need to get out of an intersection really quickly or merge onto a road, it can do the job. Let's test the brakes here. Nice brakes. Really firm pedal at the top of the pedal, really responsive. Pretty good braking performance. So this transmission and drivetrain is usually front-wheel drive most of the time, and if it detects slip with the front wheels, it'll apply power to the rear axle through, I assume, a clutch-type differential. And it works pretty well. It definitely feels a little bit more front-driven, but once you get into the power, once you're in a slippery situation, it definitely feels like an all-wheel drive car, and it gives you a lot of confidence in slippery conditions. Even though there isn't a ton of steering feel, you can definitely feel what's going on with the chassis through the tires and through how the car's moving if you're pushing it just in some slippery situations. And of course, you do always have that four-wheel drive lock where you can lock it into all-wheel drive. Alright guys, well there you go. Those are some first impressions on the new Jeep Compass. Pretty nice entry into the small/mid-size CUV segment. I think this is going to be a nice little vehicle. I've been seeing a lot of them on the road, at least around here in Detroit. Everything works well. The sound system's pretty nice. You've got a pretty responsive touchscreen. There's a little bit of delay sometimes. However, it gets the job done. I think I like the redundancy of having climate control buttons down here, volume knobs, and of course you can always use the buttons behind the steering wheel, like all FCA products, to change the radio and stuff like that. My only real complaint is I wish there were just a better solution to put your phone than this. I wish this could have been widened just a little bit to accommodate larger smartphones, but that's the way it is. I like the shifter. I appreciate that they're using this down to downshift, back to upshift shift pattern in all their vehicles today. It's kind of the way it should be. Otherwise, this thing does the trick. Anyway, guys, one other thing to note is I do really like the location of the stop-start button. It's really easy to access, and I pretty much can consistently find it whenever I need to without having to hunt around too much. And I find that really useful on a day-to-day basis. It's one of the better placed stop-start buttons that I've found in any new vehicles. Alright guys, thanks for watching. We'll be putting some more videos out on this Compass this week. After that, it's a break, and from press vehicles at least, and I'll probably be posting some stuff on the BRZ, and I've got to get the 850R out this year, so we've got some more things coming soon. Anyway, thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys later.